Welcome to Parlay TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
Welcome, everybody, to Gambling on Hockey here on The Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my special guest for today's show, Psihogios, who will be filling in, making picks with myself as we will be looking at 6 games tonight and be making our picks against the puck line. Steven, thanks so much for joining us for today's show. How you doing, man?
Good. Excited to be on the show. Got a nice hearty 6-game slate in the NHL on a Friday, so I can't complain about that.
Yeah, I don't know how you've been doing with your picks overall, but I could use some work. I haven't been faring well with my picks, especially last night. There were a ton of games in the NHL. I think I got half of them right. So it's been a tricky NHL schedule, to say the least, as we're obviously coming up on the playoffs. So hopefully we could both pick some winners here tonight.
Yeah, that's the hope. I've been the same as you. Over on my Twitter, I like to give out 3 picks every night. And lately, I feel like, if I was playing baseball, I'd be doing well. I've been going 1 for 3 a lot, which, if I'm hitting, 333, that's not bad. But when it comes to making picks, that's not where I want to be. So I'm hoping for some better luck too here.
People want to see that over 50% mark, so hopefully we can deliver on that. We're going to start with the first game. We got Philadelphia taking on Ottawa in this one. The Sens favorites here by -1.5. Who do you like tonight?
I love Ottawa in this spot. This actually, if I were to look through the slate, this is probably the game I feel the most confident about. Ottawa is in a nice little spot here. Philadelphia, it was Claude Giroux's 1,000th game last night. They had a big celebration to honor him, and they were selling grilled cheese in the concessions because it's his favorite snack. And they won a crazy game against the Preds 5-4. So it was just a really nice evening for the Flyers. So I just see a major letdown coming on Friday. First of all, Giroux's not even going to play. He's been held back because of all the trade rumors that are surrounding him. So I just think this spot for Ottawa, who's going to be rolling with Anton Forsberg between the pipes, a guy who's played pretty well this year with a .916 save percentage, I think they're set up real well against Martin Jones and the Flyers.
Yeah, I got to agree with you to begin this show. This has been a matchup where, you don't usually see the Senators' favorite, but they are going up against the lowly Flyers. And this is a team that's 3-10 in their last 13 against teams with losing records, so they have not delivered there. As you mentioned, Giroux's not even going to be in the lineup tonight. And this is a Senators team that they've been able to look good in some of these spots. And they've been averaging 2.1 goals. And I think this is a spot where they will deliver at home. Like you said, Philadelphia just played. So I think they're going to be on that high, and then they're going to come down here. So I don't usually lay with Ottawa, but I think this is a spot where they will find their groove, and they will give the home crowd something to cheer about. So I agree with you, Steven. Give me Ottawa -1.5 to begin the show. We got the next game here. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to chime in. I'm always a little nervous when you're laying a goal and a half with the Sens. Like on paper, it sounds great, but then you take a step back and think, oh, it is Ottawa. But I do actually really like them in this spot. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it is confusing, and I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like that's the one thing that always, I guess, negates me from betting on hockey more so than I should. It's those goal and a half games. You could be so comfortable with taking a team, but that if they don't win by 2, or the other team scores a late goal, and then all of a sudden it's a 1-point margin, it's like you lost that bet. It could be so tricky. And I feel the same could be said about baseball when you deal with those 1.5s, in some of these closely contested matchups.
Oh, yeah. When the goalie gets pulled in hockey and you've got the -1.5, that can be one of the most exhilarating moments in sports betting. So it's definitely one of those things where you could be literally inches away from covering a bet sometimes.
Okay, next game now. This should be a good one. We got Washington. They've been red hot lately. They're taking on Carolina. Carolina here, favorites by 1.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Washington. Carolina, they play in a lot of tight, low-scoring games. They don't give up a lot, but their offense really hasn't been scoring a lot. We saw against Toronto last night, they only scored 2 goals. In the game before that against Pittsburgh, they only scored 2 goals as well. So they're not really lighting it up right now. And with both teams trotting out their backups, a little bit more uncertainty with how to feel on either side. So when it's in that situation, I like to take the goal and a half. And the Caps, they looked real strong against Columbus. They throttled the Blue Jackets on Thursday.
I love this pick. Yeah, I'm going to take the goal and a half as well. I'm going to go with Washington. You look at Carolina, they come into tonight's game dropping 2 straight as their offense is starting to look a little bit stale. I mean, this is a Canes team that they've scored 20 goals over the last 9 games, and they failed to score more than 3 goals in any of those games. And the power play is 0-4 in its last 10, and they're taking on a Washington team. They're hot, especially with their power play lately. And I think this is going to be a spot where Washington, comes through again. We've seen them have a lot of success this season, most notably these last couple of weeks, and they've been one of the best teams in the NHL in the last 3 weeks. So anytime you see, Washington and an opportunity to take a goal and a half, I feel like you have to take it. So I'm going to take them here against Carolina. I do think Washington cashes through, and I would not be surprised if they even win this game on the money line. I'd go as far as saying that.
Yeah, I think definitely dabbling on the money line a little bit in this one. I like the over as well with both backups. So those are a couple other plays I like on this game as well.
Okay, next game, we got Boston minus 1.5 taking on Winnipeg. What do you got going on in this one?
This one, I got to go with Winnipeg. No Bergeron again for Boston. They said he was going to miss 2 games very late before that game against the Wild. That hurt me. That was one of the ones this week where I went 1 for 3 that night. But you look at this Boston team, and whether it's Bergeron or Marchand, when they're missing one of those 2 guys, it's just not the same up front. They've been a one-line team for a while. They've split Pasta up. Now they've got him on the second line. So they've tried to spread it out, but when one of the 2 big guys, Bergeron, Marchand, are out, they really feel it. Linus Ullmark is also going to be drawing the start. Likely, he was the first one off at practice today for the Bruins, and he hasn't been quite as strong as Jeremy Swayman. So I'm going to have to take the goal and a half here with the Jets.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a reason to disagree with you, Steven, but so far we're on the same page. I like Winnipeg here as well, plus 1.5. The Bruins, the schedule has not been kind to them. They're actually going to be playing their 3rd game in 4 nights on the road, and they're going to be going up against a hard-hitting playoff-style team in Minnesota. So I think the Jets could easily take advantage of that, and Hellebuck is overdue for a big game here. And it could come against the Boston team that has been pretty low on fuel lately. So I will take this as an opportunity to cash in on an underdog. So I will take Winnipeg plus 1.5 at home against the Bruins.
Yeah, they've been bizarrely playing hockey, this Winnipeg team, especially you mentioned Hellebuck. He hasn't looked anything like the Hellebuck we've seen in past years, and the offense hasn't been clicking for long stretches of the season. But I'm thinking tonight against a Boston team missing their top center, I'm expecting a big outing from this Jets team.
All right, next game, we got Buffalo taking on Calgary. Calgary, the overwhelming favorites here. Are you buying into that, or are you going the other way?
I've got to take Calgary. You look at what Buffalo did last night against Mike Smith in Edmonton. They score 1 goal. That's not promising going up against Daryl Sutter's Calgary Flames. We're playing about as strong defensively as any team in the NHL. Not to mention, the Flames aren't overlooking this game. They play Friday and Saturday, but they're trotting out Jacob Markstrom for tonight's game, and he's limited opponents to 1 goal or less in 3 of his last 4 starts. On a Buffalo team playing in as many 2 games in as many nights, I don't like that.
Not at all. And yeah, they're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. They're taking on Calgary. Ridiculous record at home. 50-1-1 on home ice since January 18th with an average goal differential of plus 2.76 in those contests. And they've actually covered the puck line in 13 of those 17 games. And they played a competition that's a hell of a lot better than the Sabres team during that time. So I look for this to be another great spot for Calgary to come on through and pick up some easy points as they gear up for the playoffs. So, yeah, I can't disagree with you here, man. I'm going with Calgary as well, minus 1.5.
Yeah, they just don't overcomplicate it. Look at it. You got Buffalo, a tired Buffalo team going up against a rested, a little bit more well-rested Calgary team with their number 1 netminder. It's not going to be too complicated, I think, to break this one down.
Okay, now another overwhelming favorite. We got Florida taking on Anaheim. Same theme here?
Yeah, this Florida team, they lost last night to Vegas, so I expect them to come out a little bit more hungry in this matchup. And Anaheim, they've just been kind of floundering really since the All-Star break. They haven't looked great. I like the over in this one, to be honest with you, too, as well. If you're going to sprinkle in another angle, I think the Ducks, they've gone over this total in back-to-back games, and Florida is one of the best over teams in the NHL. They got the third highest over percentage this year, so that's another angle I like. And if it's going to be a high-scoring game, I expect this Florida team to win by at least a couple of goals.
Yeah, I like the over as well in this matchup, and I'm going with Florida too, -1.5. The Panthers, they're definitely not going to be a team that John Gibson wants to see. He's been struggling. The Ducks are conceding over 3 goals per game, and they're one of the worst teams in the NHL with 33.1 shots against per game. So this is going to be a lot of goals. I think this will be a high-scoring affair, and Gibson enters this one with a 3.05 goals against. So he's been really struggling lately. And he's given up at least 4 goals in 4 of his previous 5 and 9 of his last 11 attempts. So Florida is going to do a number in this game, I believe. So yeah, I will take the -1.5 here, and I could see this being an over. So I like that play as well.
Yeah, and the Panthers have gone over this number in 5 of their last 7. It really just seems like this is going to be a shootout and not one that favors the Ducks too kindly.
Okay, and then final game, we got Colorado -1.5 against San Jose.
I actually really like Colorado in this one. San Jose played last night. They got shut out. They lost 3-0. And this is a Avalanche team. Sure, no Gabriel Landeskog. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. But they've covered this number in back-to-back games. And when that team is rolling, that's a train I want to steer clear from because they can really roll. And the Avalanche, I just think in this situation, you get a tired a tired San Jose team who's going to be rolling out Sachenko, who's given up 3 goals in each of his last 2 starts. I just think this is an easy Avs cover.
Yeah, I like the element when looking at teams that are playing in the second half of back-to-back. I think it does factor in a ton. So I'm going Colorado as well. They're 3-2 over their last 5 contests. They've scored 14 goals during that span. And I look for this Avalanche team to continue grooving offensively. And you look at the Sharks, they have not been good as an underdog whatsoever this season. 18-38 in their last 56 as an underdog. And most recently 3-7 in their last 10 home games. So this home spot will not be kind for them going up against the juggernaut that is the Colorado Avalanche. So, man, I think we literally agreed on every pick. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for listeners and viewers everywhere, but yeah, we agree literally with all 6 of our picks.
Well, I'm thinking, you said off the top that your picks have been a little mild. My picks have been a little mild lately. This is a sign. The correction is coming. It's coming. It's going to be a Friday night frenzy for both of us.
Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Gambling on Hockey. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you do want to bet on any of these games, just know Steven and I are backing you up if you do decide to take our picks. So that is it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself an incredible weekend, and we'll be back on the show next week. Welcome back, everybody, to 3 Point Lines here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co-host, Noor Zainab. We are back on this Friday to give you our picks against the spread. We got a full 12-game night in the NBA. That's because we only had one game last night, as I'm coming in at 55%. And slowly but surely, Noor is right behind me, looking to catch up or even surpass me with these picks, because there's a lot of games tonight, Noor. These are one of those days that can make or break your record.
Honestly, Luca, that's what I'm going for. Let's see what happens with this one. You know me, I'm right at your heels. I'm trying to claw at you and bring you right down with me. But yeah, 12-game night. Let's just get into this for 1 second, please. How do we go from a 1-game night to a 12-game night? And how many times has this happened in the NBA? And we might also be the only ones noticing this, because we might be the only ones really covering every single game every single day, like 5 days a week. But when I look back at it, I'm just like, who's in charge of scheduling? What's happening at NBA headquarters? And why am I having to go from a 1-game night to a 12-game night? It doesn't make any sense. March Madness, yeah, sure, but it's still tonight too.
Yeah, that would have been my explanation. March Madness, maybe the opening day holds a little bit more weight than all the other days. But yeah, it doesn't make sense because tonight there's 12 games and March Madness has 16 games. So yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. Maybe you should email the NBA, CC me, and we could try to get an answer out of this.
I'm getting right at it. I'm going to have the answer for all the people and for myself. And I know they're ignoring my emails right now. But yeah, it was crazy. And then last night we just had that one game. It was the basement dweller, the straight to PVR YouTube game with the Pistons and the Magic, where we were both right. The Pistons came out, they won that one, and Vegas just they duped a lot of people who went for Magic last night. Sorry, folks, but if you were paying attention, should have gone with the Pistons. Saddiq Bey had what, 50 points? Another 50-pointer? I don't know where.
That was the biggest takeaway for me. It wasn't even the fact that we both won, because I mean, it was a kind of easy, logical pick. The Magic were favorites, so it's like, go with the Pistons. We've been playing hot. But yeah, Saddiq Bey, whoever had him on a player prop was loving it last night. Like, that's the most random guy. I know he's going to be good, and like, he's one of my favorite young players to watch, but he's literally the most random guy to drop 50 plus in a game. That's like saying, like, I don't know, Chris Boucher is going to drop 50 tonight against the Lakers. Like, he had 51, like, out of nowhere. And like you just said, like, it's a part of this week that's just had 50 after 50 after 60. It's crazy, the incredible scoring runs that are going on in the NBA right now. And Saddiq Bey, I mean, maybe he's closer to becoming an all-star than we think. That was impressive to watch. Like, I don't care who you are, you drop 50, you're going to get a lot of people talking about you.
100%. Even going up against the Magic, like, that's still something to talk about. That's still a younger guy too, right? So to do that in the NBA at your level, at your age, that's massive. But that's the story. That's been a theme of the week, where NBA players have just been acting like they're on roids. I genuinely think we have to get them tested. Like, send out a drug test sample to every team in the NBA, figure out what the hell is going on, get to the bottom of it. But I'm hoping tonight is a different thing for the Raptors as well, because I want to see a 60-pointer on my team.
Yeah.
I want to see a 50-pointer on my team. So hopefully we get that down that route. But let's start off tonight's slate of games. We have, like we mentioned, a massive, huge spread tonight with 12 games coming up. But the first one being, honestly, right away, game of the night for me, with the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. And Philly here is actually favored by -3.5, Luca. Are you surprised?
Yeah, very surprised. I don't know what the odds makers are thinking. I mean, Dallas has proven to be that team that they are going over on the East Coast and they are causing havoc. They beat the Celtics on Sunday straight up. They come from behind, and they came from behind in that game. They come from behind again and beat the Nets straight up. And here they are going into Philly, and you're getting points. This is a no-brainer to me. Yeah, Dallas definitely +3.5. I might even be thinking about taking them on the money line, because I really love how the Dallas team is playing right now. 26-8 straight up, and they've only suffered back-to-back losses once during that time. The 76ers, they are 7-3 their last 10, but we saw what a good team did to them in the Brooklyn Nets not too long ago in their house. And Dallas has been so profitable all season long, 38-30-1 against the spread, and they have traveled really well, 20-14 away from home. That is a great record. And then you look at their current hot streak, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games as underdogs, which includes some of those wins that I just talked about. So I love the Dallas Mavericks tonight in the spot.
Completely agree with you too. I think I don't know what Vegas is thinking, what they're doing. They might just be again setting us all up for failure. But actually, another tidbit to add to this matchup as well. Joel Embiid is currently questionable for this matchup. So if he's not in this, he's not going to be playing for this one. We saw what the Philly looked like when they did not have Harden in the lineup. And if anything is going to look the same without Embiid there, that's not going to be a good mix. Like, that's not going to be a good mix against any team, let alone the Dallas Mavericks, who have such great offense. And obviously Luca and Dinwiddie, as you mentioned, who have been coming off great wins over teams like the Celtics, the Nets, Warriors, and which has just been fantastic to watch. But on top of their really great offense, they also rank number 6 in defense in the NBA. So Jason Kidd has really turned that defensive anchor around, and now they're able to not just have that offensive powerhouse, but they can really match the defense with that too. And the fact that Philly is a free throw merchant territory, a machine, Dallas is actually really good at getting guys off the free throw line. So I don't know where Philly's points will come tonight, especially if Embiid's not playing and Harden can't get to the line. So good luck with that. And if you're watching this right now, get on this little spread currently, because if this gets any bigger, we might have to go on the other side. But as of right now, this is super easy money. And watch this come back and bite us, Luca.
Yeah, I know. I love how we're so confident out of the gate here. But no, it really is a line that you got to take Dallas. And I would not be surprised if the line does shift. With the amount of money that could be coming in on Dallas. So I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But for the time being, do what Noor said and what I said. Take Dallas plus 3.5 and hope that cashes in tonight. Okay, next game. We got another good one. This is going to be a fantastic night of NBA action. I'm going to need 2 TV monitors to watch NBA games and March Madness games. I'm not going out tonight. I'm going to be a basketball geek. But we got Denver, Cleveland, Denver minus 2.5. Another very close spread.
I need you to be a geek so you can co-host with me, okay? So stay being a geek. But yeah, another close spread. Again, I don't know what Vegas is thinking, because you don't have Jared Allen again for Cleveland in this one. That means Jokic is going to be running just wild and free on every single end. And obviously they do have the people to stop Jokic, but no one can really stop Jokic. And I think on this squad, Allen would have been the one good shot they would have had at limiting Jokic's chances. But he has been just on a roll. They started their road trip in the East off with 2 straight wins, and now they're going up against a Cavs team that's been a little bit injured, a little bit dismantled, and they haven't really been looking like themselves recently, whereas Denver is 8-1 against the spread, and Cleveland is 1-5-1 in their last 7 meetings as underdogs. So this one, to me, again, just seems like a no-brainer. Seems like you got to go with the better team here in the Nuggets, who have been killing teams on the road, at home, everywhere, coming through as underdogs, coming through as favorites, and Jokic just solidifying himself in that MVP conversation, even next to the likes of Embiid. So I just feel like, again, take the money, take the Nuggets. Vegas is fooling you guys.
Yeah, well said, especially about the Jared Allen bit. I think him being out is all you need to know about this matchup. You look at what Embiid did against this Cavaliers team without Allen, 35-17. You look at even what Zubac did against the Cavaliers without Allen. He dropped 24-14. We know Evan Mobley's there, but he's more of a big that can guard all 5 positions. He's not as stocky or as a big of a defensive anchor inside as a Jared Allen. He's really hurting them right now not being there. And we're seeing it with this Cavaliers defense that's taken a turn for the worst. I mean, this was touted as one of the best defenses in the first half of the season. And now the opposing big is just dominating them. And now they're taking on MVP frontrunner Nikola Jokic. He's going to easily go off for a huge stat line tonight. And the only shot the Cavs have at winning this game is if Garland goes off and if they bank on the Nuggets going cold in this game. That's the supporting cast around Jokic, but that's too many ifs for me. I got to go with Denver minus 2.5. I think this is going to be another spot where not having Allen's really going to hurt this Cleveland team inside.
Yep, no, another Western Conference team that's traveling to the East in the snow. Sorry, guys, why would you choose to come here? But we've got the Lakers taking on Toronto tonight. Toronto, big spread, -9. Luca, are you that much of a homer that you can lay the points?
I don't know about you or if you saw it, but there was a clip actually
I did.
It's been going viral. And if Russell Westbrook scores like 35 points tonight, I'm not going to be mad. low key, I want him to kind of do a number because that was a stupid clip. Basically, it's some Toronto fans heckling Westbrook. It's like, come on, like way to make Toronto fans look bad. And he talked trash about Westbrook after Westbrook turned his back and went to his ride. Like, talk about being lame and soft. So yeah, I didn't like that at all. It kind of adds to the bad reputation of Raptors fans. I'm going with the Lakers in this one. 9 points is way too many for me. I think the Raptors do ultimately win tonight's game, but LeBron's going to be most likely playing. I know he's officially listed as questionable, but he will be playing in Toronto, a place where he's thrived throughout his entire career. I know he hasn't won with his Lakers team in Toronto yet, but it could be tonight. I don't know. I have this feeling the Lakers will bounce back, and they will at least look a lot better than they did in their previous meetings. So I think Westbrook's going to have a decent game. I think LeBron's going to show up. And we've seen this movie before. The Raptors got to prove me wrong before I can trust them after impressive wins and then lay the number. This is the exact same thing that happened 2 weeks ago, right? They had come off an incredible win streak, and then they were big favorites against Detroit and Orlando, and they lost both those games. So I'm not saying they're going to lose tonight, but it's going to be close. I'm taking the Lakers +9.
It's so funny you mentioned that clip because, yeah, it was completely uncalled for. It just adds to that narrative of Raptor fans being completely just intolerable. But when I saw that too, immediately I was like, if Russell goes for 60 tonight, you know exactly who to blame.
Yeah.
All of Toronto knows exactly who to hunt down and beat up because it's his fault. And at that point, who can blame him? I'm rooting for him at that point. I'm like, let me see Russell Westbrook get a triple-double and get a career high in my town. But you know what? You're absolutely right. I spent a long time, honestly, on this spread just thinking, what's going to happen? Who's going to win this? Because the Raptors have looked great. You can't put that past them. They've looked like such a great team, but I also just can't have recency bias when it comes to this team. I don't know how confident I feel when it comes to a blowout, and not just the blowout, but a blowout against a Lakers team that has employed LeBron James to a full-time contract. If LeBron is there, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that this honestly could be where the Raptors come back down to earth. But if somehow the Lakers do lose this by more than 10, it will be a Lakers story as opposed to how good the Raptors are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I not going to lie, I did have the Raptors winning this. I was going as the homer, but the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I see that video of Russell being harassed. There's no way he's going to come back. Like, he was yelling at kids in the bubble. You think he's going to not look at this as a reason to go off tonight? He's going to fucking go off tonight. So I'm going to have to go with the Lakers. I'm so sorry, Toronto, but for some reason, I think tonight's the night we come back down to earth and we go to bed a little less happy.
Yeah, and again, I would not be entirely upset because of that clip. It really pissed me off. And I'm a pretty big like Russ hater in the sense where I think he could be slightly overrated, but like to do that in person, like that's pretty dumb. Like obviously you just wanted to bait for clicks, which you got, but it does not make us Raptors fans look good. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if he will be.
His reasoning also, Luca, by the way, was that he lost him a player prop.
Oh, is that what it was? I totally missed that context.
Apparently, yeah. He said that he was yelling at him after Russell walked off, and he was like, "Yeah, you lost me a bet." And it's like, dude, you know what you're doing when you bet, right?
Yeah, like that's even stupider though to like react like that because like like you're either gonna win or lose the bet. But that's I didn't even notice that. That fits right into the betting context. That's pretty funny.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on now. We got Memphis taking on Atlanta. We got Memphis favored by 5.5.
Yep, this will be a super fun game tonight. I think this will be where two amazing, explosive offensive just go head-to-head against each other. But right now, both Trae Young and Ja are questionable for this one. So you're going to have to rely on whatever is around them. But besides Ja on his team, the whole team is healthy. They have Desmond Bane back. They have Dylan Brooks, who's also back. And obviously, Steven Adams has always been there doing the little things like, passing, being the main guy in the paint. So they have a really good roster, even around Ja, even without Ja, who's not there. But I don't know if I trust Trae's supporting cast around him as much as I trust Ja. It's not that they're not as great, but I just think that go from toe-to-toe, player to player, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Grizzlies here. Hawks are a great offensive team. Obviously, they throw up amazing points, but this is where they could be outmatched with a Grizzlies team who's also amazing at offense. If Ja is playing, then there's no way they could keep up with that kind of level. And on the other side, as far as defenses goes, Hawks can't slow anybody down. There's not a team that they can slow down. All they can do is match you for scoring. They can go point for point with you, but they can't really defend you. Whereas the Grizzlies actually have some nice pieces that they can use to limit the opposition's offense. So I think this is where Grizzlies are kind of set up to win nicely, and I'm going to take them to win.
Yeah, I agree. They're the best team in the NBA in terms of covering the spread for a reason. And yeah, with Trae Young being questionable and John Collins, their two best players being questionable, that's all I needed to see. Even if they do play, are they going to be 100%? I don't think Collins is going to play, but if anything, Trae Young, I could see suiting up. But yeah, I mean, Ja's going to be there. This Memphis team has proven it doesn't matter if they're at home, on the road. If they're favored by like this 5 to 7 range, you take it. And why? Because I've been doing it all season, and it's been cashing in for me. So this is a team that's been fun to watch. They're number 2 in the West. They know the Warriors have Steph Curry on the shelf, so they look at it as an opportunity to remain in the 2nd seed. And Atlanta's just a team I can't trust. And you already mentioned it with their defense being very bad. And you just don't know which version of this Atlanta team you're going to get. When they were supposed to win the other night against the Hornets, they ended up losing by 10. And here they are as an underdog. They're probably going to get, smoked. So, yeah, I like Memphis in this spot as well. I think they win by more than 6.
Oh my God, I forgot they cost us that pick against the Hornets.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. Yeah, hell no, I'm not taking the Hawks tonight. Definitely not. Okay, another big spread tonight where the Brooklyn Nets take on the Portland Trailblazers as minus 14.5 favorites. Are you going to lay the points here, Luca?
Yeah, I am. And I think KD might go for 50 tonight, or he might be doing something special, especially what Kyrie did against a very terrible Magic team. Brooklyn's going to be at home. No Kyrie, just going to be KD. I think KD is going to do something truly special. So if he does, you know where you heard it first. KD is going to go off tonight. Portland can't stop anybody. They continue not to cover the spread. These spreads keep on getting bigger and bigger. I'm surprised the spread's not just a little bit bigger. It's probably because Durant's the only guy there. But still, this is an overwhelming favorite. Brooklyn needs to win. They still want to get out of the play-in. They are 6-4 against the spread in their last 10. And we just saw what they did against Orlando when it was, I think, a similar spread or just slightly less. They blew them out of the water. And granted, Kyrie was there, but still, they're at home. KD's going to be ready to go. And Portland hasn't been keeping any of these games close. So I'm going with Brooklyn. I hope you are too. And you learned your lesson from that Magic game.
Oh, call me out. Honestly, yes, I have. After that loss, after I got shunned everywhere, I'm never going to go with the Magic again like that, or against Kyrie at the very least. But you honestly mentioned it. You don't need to have, even if you have both Kyrie and KD on the floor at the same time, one might just be taking the night off on the court. And we've seen that happen with them quite a bit once they've both been healthy in the lineup, where KD will have a night off just walking around, passing the ball, doing whatever else he can do, where Kyrie will go off, right? He had 60 points against the Magic, but then also on the other hand, you'll see KD go off and Kyrie will just kind of stand there and do what he's got to do. But I think in this matchup, yeah, it's a big spread, but Portland they're in tanking mode. They've been tanking for the past month, and we've seen that in 7 of their last 8. Most of their losses have been by more than 15 points, with a few 30 pieces thrown on them. And fortunately tonight, they will be in Brooklyn, who obviously you mentioned it, but they won't have Kyrie there tonight. But that means you still have KD and you still have company. We know the Nets will win this, but will they win this by 15? And I think so. I think Blazers are giving up 120 plus points in their last 6 road games. They also suck at defending the perimeter, where the Nets are so dangerous, and Seth Curry and Patty Mills and Kevin Durant. So there's no way they can stop that kind of firepower coming at them. So I think it's a pretty no-brainer to go with them tonight. And to, like you mentioned it, everyone's been going off this week. KD's going to have this night circle on his calendar because now he wants the NBA to talk about him. And there's no way KD can have that. Everyone else talking about anybody else without KD, no way. So tonight he'll go off and we'll see a massive player prop from him. So you're right.
Yeah, well, I guess you agree with me, the 50 piece. Are we both going to go on that bold take?
We're going to go on the record right now. He's going to go for a 50 piece.
Yeah, I feel confident with it. I really do. So we'll see what happens there. Next team, we got Washington taking on the Knicks. And this is going to be the return of Kristaps Porzingis to MSG. Will he get booed still?
He definitely will. No matter where he goes, he's going to get booed. But in this matchup, honestly, even if it's the Knicks, you just can't back the Wizards right now. Yeah. They've lost 5 straight. and 3 of them have been more than 10 points. They even lost the tanking Blazers. They were the only reason why Blazers have a 1 win on their sheet in the past 6 games. And that's because they won against the Wizards. And Knicks have actually covered the spread in their last 7 games. Plus, they do play hard. They have great offense in Barrett, Randall, Quincy, and Fournier. And that allows them to pretty much win this comfortably because they do have spacing, they have the offense, they have the shots. And on the other side, Wizards have dropped their last 5 against the spread. On top of that, in case you needed more to be convinced about a Knicks win tonight. So I'm going to go with the Knicks. And I think Porzingis will have a bad night tonight too. What about you?
Yeah, you mentioned all the stats, and those are the reasons why I'm taking the Knicks as well. They've been a really safe bet in terms of covering the spread. Can't believe I'm uttering those words. They are 4-6 straight up in their last 10, but it does not matter because they are covering the spread. But what's more impressive, or what stands out to me as being impressive with this Knicks team, is during that span, they're actually 5th in defensive rating in the league. And then on the other hand, the Wizards are 28th. And you mentioned they just lost to the lowly Blazers. Yeah, they shouldn't win this game. It shouldn't be close. Maybe Porzingis has that revenge factor on his mind. That's the only way I could see the Wizards winning, is if he has a big night trying to show those Knicks fans off. But I don't think it's going to happen. Or I could see Porzingis having a good night, but there's not going to be enough hope around him. The price isn't that much to pay here. Knicks still believe there's a very slim chance they could maybe get in, which probably won't happen. But yeah, I think the Knicks will show up tonight on this Friday night. Give me the Knicks -6.
Yeah, I don't know if Porzingis has ice in his veins like Luca would. I feel like he would kind of get like mousy to the performance or to the lights. But anyway, we've got another basement dweller, I guess, another rats in the basement with Indiana Pacers and the Houston Rockets, where Indiana is favored by 4 points. Who are you laying it with here, Luca?
I like Indiana in this spot, and Houston's been really bad all year, 23-39-1 against the spread. And I think Halliburton's going to have a nice game here against such a bad defense. You got Brogdon back in the lineup, which I'm surprised his line isn't even a little bit bigger considering that. Yeah. So I see Indiana -4. I look at who they're playing, and I'm going to take that. I'm going to run away with it. I know it's a basement-dwelling game, but Indiana is definitely, on paper, a much better team than Houston. And we know they can actually be a decent team when everybody's out there healthy. So, yeah, the fact that Brogdon's back, that's huge. And I will take the Pacers because of that.
Yeah, you honestly mentioned it. It's 2 teams that are out of rotation here, but they're just trying to get their reps in at this point. But Pacers are just a better team. We've seen that all throughout, not just this year, but the past couple of years too. And Houston, as you mentioned, has been bad all season. They had dealt with injuries, and they did have the draft pick that they were trying to season up and give the keys to, but it doesn't mean that they've been playing great basketball. Whereas the Pacers had an active trade deadline, but they still have been playing decent basketball as of late. They do have the guys that you mentioned in Brogdon and Okc, where Halliburton and Buddy Hield are making headlines after the trade deadline. So I think in this matchup, yeah, they're both bad teams, but you got to go with the better of the worst teams, the better of the 2 evils, I guess. So in this, that would be the Pacers. But yeah, give me the Pacers.
All right, we got another big spread in this one. We got OKC taking on Miami. So yeah, Miami, the overwhelming favorite here, and rightfully so. OKC has been bad, but OKC has found ways to cover. So which side of the spectrum are you going to fall on here?
See, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm curious to know what your pick is going to be, because after we had that one with the Spurs and OKC covered that one. Yeah. And that's why I'm kind of surprised that they're here at Miami's favorite at -16. But I'm going to go with the team that does cover the spread. Miami is probably going to win this, and they should win this, but this is a huge spread for a Miami team. Vegas is almost kind of setting up Heat fans over here, and they are a great team. Don't take anything away from that, but they're just not the type to usually blow out their opponent. But you bring in an OKC team with Shea that has been losing all season, yet they somehow still cover the spread, or at least make it competitive, and you have a spot to make some money. They just covered the Spurs the other day, like I mentioned, so I think they will do that again tonight. I think Heat win. But if Shea is playing, then OKC should have no problem covering this. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it, and they give you easy money every single time. So take it. Are you doing the same, Luca?
Yeah, I'm not making the same mistake again. That's the last time I'm betting against OKC when the number is that big. And Miami is a team that does not cover big numbers. And they've actually failed to cover 2 straight as a home favorite. I think they're going to win tonight, but they're going to take it easy. They're going to underestimate this Thunder team like so many teams do. And I think they will be in store for a night where I could see them dominate, but then maybe third or fourth quarter, they take their gas off the pedal and OKC can have a nice backdoor cover. And I feel like that's the reason why OKC has covered a bunch of these games. But yeah, Miami, they've been dominant. OKC, they've been bad from an analytical perspective, but they've been covering spreads, and that's the only stat I care about. So I think OKC will make this respectable. Miami wins. There's not going to be any crazy upset. But yeah, this team does not cover big spreads, and we just saw it in the last game when they beat the Pistons, and it was under 10 points. So give me OKC in this spot.
Yeah, we are giving you our expert opinion on the Heat here, and that's to not put the money on them. But on the Western Conference side of things now, we've got the Pelicans taking on the Spurs, where the Spurs are favored by -2.5.
Yeah, so McCollum will be playing. BI still out. But I still got to go with the Pelicans here. They've been really strong lately over their last 10 games. They actually ranked top 10 on offense and defense. And they're actually 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games on the road. That is great. And you look at the Spurs, they failed to cover in 3 games in a row. And they've given up at least 119 points in 4 of their last 5. Way too many points. Expect CJ McCollum to have a big game. As long as he's there, that's enough offensive firepower for me. It's a low spread. I'm surprised the Pelicans are even the slight underdog here. I get it because San Antonio's playing at home and they give them the respect whenever they're at home. But the Pelicans, no, this is an important game for them, especially with the play-in. You beat the Spurs. I'm not saying you clinch a spot or anything, but you give yourself some much-needed breathing room, in that race. So the Pelicans are going to look at this as a big opportunity to get a big win to improve their play-in odds. So yeah, give me the Pelicans.
Wow, I think this might be our first disagreement of the day. Maybe.
Okay,
Have we disagreed so far yet? Maybe not, but first one, I'm going to go with the Spurs, Luca. I think Pelicans have been struggling after losing Brandon Ingram after he went down with his injury, and he was on fire. After he was helping his team win, he was running headlines. You saw so many NBA writers and bloggers that were writing about Brandon Ingram and his impact on the Pelicans, and without him now, they've kind of gone right back down to earth. They've lost 5 of their last 6. And each was more than 6 points. And even when they were having a good stretch, Pelicans just weren't a great defensive team. But the Spurs have great offense, and they just scored 139 and 122 this past week against, who was it against? I forget, but whoever. But it was massive points that they laid against those big teams. And then the big matchup tonight will be in JV and Pirtle. But I think when it comes to guards, DeJounte Murray is going to outmatch McCollum here. And without Brandon Ingram in the lineup, it's going to be hard for them to keep up with that. So I'm actually going to go with the Spurs here and hope that Pop brings that wisdom into this win somehow.
Maybe you know something I don't, because clearly the odds makers are on the Spurs tonight since they are the slight favorites. So we'll see what happens in that one. But yeah, the Pelicans have not been playing well lately in terms of just winning games straight up. All right, next game. We got Clippers taking on Jazz. Small spread here, showing a lot of respect to the Clippers. Jazz favored by 5.
Yeah, I think apparently Mitchell is out for this one, and so is Bogdanović, which I guess it kind of makes sense because the Clippers have been, they've been on fire, really. But then again, it shows you just how close the Clippers have kept it all year. They have been a great team, and we got to talk more about how scary they are, even without Kawhi and PG. I think we do talk about that quite a bit, actually, on this show, but I just love talking about that subject because I think that that's a team that's showing everyone else in the league that's without their superstars, that's lost their guys to injuries, that you still can win. You still can make a run depending on who do you have on your roster, what kind of role players you have, and who your coach is at this point. Because also shout out Ty Lue. He's been absolutely phenomenal with everything that he has to deal with and go through. But I think in this one, the Clippers almost beat the Raptors, who were coming off 4 straight wins in their West Coast adventure. And that's hard to do playing Pascal in California. He loves California, and he almost could have lost that one against the Clippers, but they somehow got that win out there. But the Clippers really kept it super close, and I think they know exactly what to do without their main guys out. And I'm afraid that other teams just haven't figured that out yet. Even if Mitchell is out for this one, so is Bogdanovic, I see that team going through rust, having a hard time gelling, at least through this one game tonight. Whereas Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris have given them such a great spar again. I think if anything tonight will be two great defensive teams going against each other. And even in that defensive matchup, I still like Clippers actually, which is crazy to say without Paul George and Kawhi, but I think they will upset. I think they will, if not win, at least cover the spread, but I would not be shocked if they actually win this outright as well. So give me the Clippers. What about you?
No, I like it, and I'm going to completely change my pick because I had Utah originally. I'll be transparent with everybody, but Noor dropping some Noor bombs on us. I did not know Mitchell and Bogdanovic, but you are correct. They're both ruled out right now against the Clippers. That changes a whole ton, and you obviously did your research, and I didn't because that was actually announced like 4 hours ago. Or no, 18 hours
That's
ago.
honestly, Luca, I'm not kidding. Every time I'm visiting every single team, the first thing I do is Lakers injury report. Raptors injury report. Like, who's playing tonight? It's the first thing you got to do.
No, that's smart. Yeah, that totally went way over my head. I'm glad you brought it up and you were first with this pick because, yeah, I think that is going to make a big difference here. I mean, Mitchell does so many good things for this team, and I feel like he's that glue guy. Every time he's there, the Jazz look like they're dominant selves. They look like a dark horse team that everybody can tout them to be. But when he's not there, they look very limited. And on top of that, you're losing Bogdanovic, who, again, is a lot of offense off the table. And the Clippers, they have been such a gritty team all season. They almost beat the Raptors coming from behind. You know, at the very least, they're going to keep this game competitive. They're going to keep this game close. They very rarely get blown out. And for as good as the Jazz have been at home this season, the Clippers actually beat the Jazz earlier, 124-103. That was on December 15th. So the Clippers, yes, they've lost 5 of their last 7. They are 16-21 on the road overall. But this is a team that can hang around with the best of them. And we've seen it all year long. And with the Jazz missing their best player, I think that's going to be enough for the Clippers to make this game close. So give me the Clippers +5. I think they come through here.
Yeah, they just lose a lot of offense with Bogdanovic and Mitchell, and you just can't put that past a really good defensive Clippers team. All right, another big, massive spread tonight with the Boston Celtics taking on the Kings, where Boston is favored by -9.5. Is that too big for you, Luca, or are you just going to do it?
Yeah, initially I did look at it and I'm like, damn, like Boston -9.5 on the road. Yeah. But you know what? This is one of those things you can't really think about. Just take Boston. Take Boston to cover the spread. This is a team. They're playing their best basketball right now. And you look at the last time these two teams met, it was on January 25th, not too long ago. They did they beat them or no? They were up by as many as 53 points against the Kings. It was crazy. So what's changed? Yeah, they got Sabonis, but this is still a very bad Kings team. This is still a Kings team that cannot keep up with some of the best teams in the NBA. Yeah, they can beat some of the lower seeds in the NBA, but not this Boston team. Boston's trying to remain in that top 4. This is a team you don't want to bet against. And Tatum, I think, is going to have a big game tonight. Derek White, you got him there. He's going to be a very underrated move for the Celtics team. Yeah, I really think Boston's going to win this game by more than double digits. So I will take Boston on the road here against the Kings. So, yeah, give me the C's.
I thought the same thing, too, at first, honestly, because I was like, well, damn, they do have Sabonis. They do have De'Aaron Fox. They do have some offense that they could maybe make this competitive. But at the same time, Boston has Robert Williams and Marcus Smart. And they can really limit any offense that any other team throws at them, which they have been doing pretty much ever since they got hot again this season. And the Jays have also been on fire on their own. They will not slow down against this Kings team that's been kind of shaky on and off throughout the season, even after the trade deadline. And Celtics just got back from killing the Warriors. Granted, Curry was gone after 13 minutes, but you still had Clay. You still had Draymond, you still had the entire Warriors team. It's still a Warriors team. So to put that out and to blow them out is still something. And you mentioned Derek White. I think that was such a great signing for them because he's been such a delight, not just off the bench, but to give them an extra offensive punch that is great and that they need on a really defensive-minded team. And their defense should definitely limit, I think, Kings' opportunities tonight as well. But at the same time, the offense that the Jays produce and that Derek White will have should send them over the top here and secure the spread against the Kings. So give me Celtics. How crazy is that?
Yeah, so the Celtics, they ended up winning that game by 53, but they led by as many as 60.
60, yeah.
So that's crazy. That
was
crazy.
an insane game.
Yeah, you have to take the Celtics. I mean, that was in Boston, granted, but still. Sacramento hasn't proven to be a good home team all season long. Okay, the final game of the night. This is a good one. It could be a good one. If Chicago wakes up, we got Bulls taking on the Suns. Does Vegas know something that we don't know? Because Phoenix is only a 5.5-point favorite here, and I believe this is going to be the showcase game tonight. This will be on ESPN.
Oh no, DeRozan.
That's not
like
good.
That for him.
I'm trying to look at that now
to
just double check, but yeah, it should be. It's the last game of the night.
It should be. It must be, right? It is the Bulls. It is the Suns, but I don't like that spot for Debo alone, because if there's one thing that Debo does not like, it's the flashing lights. And I don't know how that's going to fare out tonight. I think maybe they're thinking because Caruso is back, it makes the team a little bit better. But Levine's still questionable for this one tonight. So you don't know if you're going to see Levine suiting up for this. And Ball is obviously still out. But I think even with Caruso back in the lineup, because we still saw Caruso, you still saw Levine, we still saw DeRozan play together recently, and they lost that one. They did not come out the way that we thought they would. Levine had 33 points in that one. DeRozan also had 25, but they just have not been the Bulls that we have seen them to be. They have been struggling all month long, and I'm surprised it's not a bigger spread against the best team in the league. We've spoken on the show a lot about how the Bulls and what's happening with them, but I think this will be another time that they will play a top 3 team and lose. This loss shouldn't be too hard on the chin, though, because it is the Suns. They are the best team in the league. But Devin Booker and Ayton have been holding their own without CP3, and I think they'll do it again tonight. They've only lost 1 of their last 6, and that came against the Raptors. And yeah, whereas the Bulls have just been hitting the pavement in terms of winning, because they just have not been able to get those wins out. They've been losing everything, and they have not been covering the spread either.
No.
So I think tonight with this one, I do feel confident in Booker and the fellas, and I think it's just a crazy low spread for a Suns team that's such a good banker when it comes to winning against the spread. So again, jump on it now. Jump on all these things now, because based on our record, we might know what we're talking about. What about you, Luca?
Yeah, no, it's a head scratcher. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be a much larger spread. This is probably going to be the showcase game. And the Bulls have not fared well against top teams, as you mentioned. And this is a team that I can see maybe put up a fight tonight, look more respectable than they did in previous matchups in this spot. But against Phoenix, not a lot of teams have won over there. This is a team that plays its best basketball at home, even without CP3. Chicago has to prove it at this point before you can take them plus the points in a big-time spot like this. And I just can't. Phoenix has too much help, too many offensive weapons. That defense is going to be good. Chicago, very limited now with their approach. Their defense has not been playing well, so good luck trying to stop Phoenix in their offensive ways. Yeah, it's not looking good for the Bulls right now. I mean, hopefully they can prove to people tonight that they are a team that can hang with the best of them. I mean, if the Bulls can go into Phoenix and have a nice convincing win, I think for now they'll put that narrative away. But if they lose again in this spot, Bulls fans are just going to be looking at themselves saying, yeah, this team, they can't get it done against good teams. And that's not a good thing you want to have going into the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't know. -5.5 seems too good to be true. But we realize with the Suns team, whatever the spread is, if it's respectable, if it's attainable, just take it. Don't even question it. Just take it. I'm going with Phoenix. Yeah, without doubt. Let's go with them. Knicks -5.5.
It sucks for the Bulls here, too, because any team losing to the Suns will be like, you know what? It's the Suns. It's fine. It's just the Suns. But the Bulls have just such a bad narrative against really good teams that it's like, no, you got to come out and win this, or at least give it a fair shot so that people aren't looking at you and being like, hey, is this just another fraudulent team? Are they going to do anything again this year?
Yeah.
So let's hope somehow, if the lights are on DeRozan tonight, he does not shrink away and he actually comes through, and we see a great narrative about him all weekend long, because that's all you could want for someone like DeRozan. But anyway, this has been today's show of 3 Point Lines with myself, Noor Zainab, and my co-host, Luca Rosano. This entire week, from Monday to Friday, we gave you our favorite picks for every single night at 3 p.m. And only thing that I would ask of you guys now is to please reach out to the NBA commissioner and ask him why we're getting 1 game one night and 12 games the other night. That's my only plea to everybody listening today. But you know where to find us, all of our socials at The Parlay, as well as Parlay TV. And Luca and I will see you again at 3 p.m. right on Monday. See you then.